Hey, what's up? I'm Courtney Rose. Welcome to the 13 weeks of Halloween. This is week 1. I am doing DIY life-size monster decorations. So, these are something that my family had done years ago. Oh, goodness. I don't even know how long. Let's see. It was at least 10 years ago that we had done this. Everybody took a giant piece of cardboard and laid down, and someone would trace them. And then we all chose a monster that we were going to turn into a life-size decoration for the house. So when I was a kid, I chose Frankenstein. So I decided I was going to recreate Frankenstein this time to see how different he was from my original. So let's see, what else did everybody else choose? Somebody made an alien. Somebody made a vampire. I don't really remember. Anyways, so we hung these up around the house after they were done. I don't know how long everybody spent working on theirs. Everybody chose a place in the house that their decoration would fit. So I remember the alien was down one hallway right next to my mom's bedroom, and it looked very cartoony. So that one didn't really scare people too much. And then there was a vampire. I think that one was in the kitchen. But my Frankenstein wound up on the back of the front door. So when you go down the main hallway, you can see the front door out of the corner of your eye as you turn into the kitchen. So that whole year, it was the funniest thing. Well, the whole time we were celebrating Halloween that year, you could hear when you'd be in your room and you'd just hear random scream from the kitchen, and you could tell who was just turning the corner into the kitchen and who just saw Frank on the door, Frankenstein's monster. I don't know what I keep calling him. Anyways, it was the funniest Halloween. It genuinely was terrifying. Every time I remember I'd walk around the corner, you would really think there was a human. It's shaped like a human. It's human sized. Thick, so it looked like a man was in the door. And I don't know why I make them so much taller than I am. I don't know how this keeps happening. It happened this time too. They're substantially bigger than I am, even though I traced myself. But you'd think that you were turning the corner and there's someone staring at you. It was the scariest Halloween. Definitely recommend as a decoration for anyone who wants to scare themselves in a lighthearted way. But if you live with others, there will probably be screams. So we refer to this as Splatman because when we tried to have my nephew do it, he didn't really choose a monster like everybody else did. He just kind of flung paint at his, and Splatman became the name of the entire project. We loved his. It was tiny, cute little, completely different than everybody else's. So I don't remember what I did before. We all took, I think they were cardboard boxes from refrigerators or something like that. I don't know how we wound up with such giant cardboard all the time. We always had huge boxes. So you draw out in pencil whatever you want and then paint it with whatever kind of paint you want. I used acrylic before, definitely. So this time I didn't have giant cardboard. So what I did was I had this roll of brown paper that you use to wrap gifts. Since we didn't have birthday paper, we had this to decorate yourself for whatever occasion. So I rolled that out to approximately 70-ish inches so that there'd be a little bit of a lip at the top to hold on to. And then with just a charcoal pencil, outline myself. I forget what I was doing. Yeah, that. And then, And then I just start drawing in the details a little bit more with that charcoal pencil, a little bit darker so that you can see it. But don't worry about like detail work yet. And then I go in with, what's this stuff called? Gesso. I just use an acrylic gesso so that you can, I don't know if I pronounced that right. so that you can see the paint better. The paint will stick better. You'll only have to use one coat, maybe a few coats if it's a light paint, but anyways, I don't know, this stuff's good. I don't know. I've only used it a few times. I used it on the mural in the kitchen, so I used it on this too. That's what this white stuff is. So this is just a base, and then once it dries, you can still see the paint, the charcoal under it a little bit, so I could still tell what I was doing and where I was going with this. So yeah. I definitely didn't do this before. I think I just did multiple layers of craft acrylic paint, but because I wanted to use watercolor this time and I didn't want to use 400 layers of watercolor, I definitely put this stuff down this time. And I think I only did one layer of watercolor. I was perfectly happy with the effect. So I just tried to go for like a cartoon style, no like shading or anything, just basic blocking, and then don't worry about taking up your entire body space. I definitely tried to narrow Frankie's hips because old Frankie boy doesn't have the hips that I have, so, or the thighs. So I tried to, I don't know, make cartoon looking legs. Don't worry about it. It does not matter how these things look, because in the dark, you could have forgotten to paint a whole arm. You're still going to be scared of the thing. My shoulders, one shoulder goes all the way up. I don't know why I do that. I do that every freaking time I'm trying to draw myself. There is an off to the shoulder, and it is like, it's also bigger than the body is by a substantial amount. And one arm is like, okay, so don't worry about it though, because it literally does not make a difference. I mean, unless you're a perfectionist, and then I'm sorry, this project will suck. Or maybe it won't. I have no symmetry skills. I just leave it as it is. And I couldn't figure out what a foot would look like if you're staring directly at a foot. So I go for like the Bender the Robot style blob. Kind of looks like a horse from the ankle down. So Frankie got some horse feet. So after the gesso dries, which it's dried by the time I've finished painting his feet, his head is dry, I go back over with another charcoal pencil so that I can see my lines better as I paint. Trying to be a little bit neater this time with my lines. I made this really handy revolving paper like thing on my desk. I needed some weights to weight the paper down. So I taped some beads with some thread to the ends of the paper to weigh it down. And then I decided I wanted it to spin like a conveyor belt. So I also taped the beads to the other side of the paper so that as I go, I can just keep going forward, you know, and it doesn't touch the ground, so it can keep drying, just hanging, suspended under my desk. So I thought that was absolutely genius. So as I went, he was just already dry as I went around. So then I take out all my watercolor and I kind of decide which ones I want to use. These are usually the ones I gravitate towards. I like the goopy paint, kind of watercolor paint for this kind of a project. I just try to slap down the darker colors like the browns and the blacks so that it stands out once I put the green on top, because the green's going to be just so light. And then as you mix it in, you just kind of wiggle the browns out and hope for a shading effect. I don't know. That's what I do. Kind of try to rub in some more colors. I really don't focus too much on any one spot for too long or I'll go nuts. I also try not to focus too hard on the eyeballs because I don't remember very much about doing eyes from all my years in art school. I barely remember anything about the eyes or shading. I don't even know what I remember. Anyways, I'm sure I remember something from all of those various different schools. So I just, what was my term? Slap in some black. So again, so that it's noticeable as I go. And some like brown and yellow and red so that it looks like there's aging stains, stuff like that. I couldn't figure out what colors his clothes were, so I decided the only other colors left I wanted to work with would be blues. So I did kind of a darker blue for his jacket, like a suit, and then like a lighter blue for his shirt, and then I wound up with yet another kind of blue for his pants, which I'm only just now realizing. So I have no idea what he actually wears. I think I was thinking of Herman Munster while I was doing this guy. Herman Munster is not Frankenstein's monster, is he? He's not. He's his own dude, I think. Well, oh well. Oh well. So, I mean, the only other color option I would have had would have been a red shade or an orange, I guess. I don't think. Well, maybe he had brown pants. Oh, brown pants. It's a normal pants color. Anyways, definitely don't overthink it. Really, even just an outline in the dark. Except, okay, so good point. Alex's splat man didn't scare anybody, but it looked like more like a decoration you'd find kind of in a, what's the word? Like a kid's play space, you know? Maybe if he had done more like a creepy, dark outline, it would have been more like a demon or something, but I don't know. The kid shape and the splat colors were just cute. But all of the adult-sized ones, we weren't adults, but we were all over 5 feet at that point. Alex was not. The kid was not. I lost my train of thought because of that. So I just kind of smushed in some dark colors for his pants, trying to make like a jean look, or like I don't know. I think I was going for a jean look, and then did his horse feet. Like I traced my own ankles. I don't know why those things look so bad like horse feet. And then it's dry again as soon as I flip it around. I don't know which day when I switched to the next day, but at some point I had to just give up and stop and come back the next day. So I outline with Sharpie because my acrylic paint pens don't ever work. I have tried so many brands, and every time I finally get around to trying them, the black doesn't work. And I can't say anything because I waited months to try them, so that's on me. Sharpie is fine, it just usually seems to dry out for me before I get where I'm going, so I bring a million of them with me just to be sure. And then you go over, try to be careful here. I totally forgot some lines, but that doesn't matter. But these are the details that matter. So, did that even make sense? Anyways, yeah. So then I paint over it with Mod Podge to try to protect him a little bit from water. So that, because it's watercolor paint. I mean, if it's acrylic paint, you don't have to worry about this too much. But since this is watercolor paint, I didn't want him to get all smushy and drippy. But also when you put the Mod Podge over it, it helps kind of like meld the color in and make it a little bit darker and a little bit nicer. So that was a really nice effect to it. And this I did let dry a little bit longer because there's some thicker spots. So you want to be a little bit careful with that. But I think it came out pretty good. And then I didn't have any doors to put it on, so there it went. Come back for week 2. Halloween 13 week 2.